I've experienced it, and I've really ingrained it in my reality, and it's become a knowing. The issue I'm having is that I find it difficult to be able to explain the mechanics behind how I can actually perceive someone else's parallel reality and then be able to define it as not my own. If you can bring some more clarity upon that subject, again, around like the mechanics of how we can actually see it and then say it's not our own, that would be of great benefit to myself and a lot of other people that watch your content. So thank you so much, Bashar. Aveo.
You do this all the time when you write things like science fiction novels. You create worlds from your imaginations that in many ways actually are representative of parallel realities that are not your own. So it entails imagination and communication with the higher mind that can see many different parallel realities simultaneously, and drawing down that information in ways that you present to your public as science fiction or simple fiction. The idea of actually experiencing parallel realities is that when you do experience it, it does become your own, because you're shifting through billions of parallel realities all the time anyway to create what you think is your unique timeline. So your unique timeline is actually constructed of many different parallel realities that become your own. But the idea of perceiving one that you know isn't yours, really, is simply called fiction in your world. Good day.
Good day, Bashar. Good to be with you on this day. So happy. This is
all right. All right. And you as well.
Yes. I have a question. You once spoke about how the Bible had a lot of the stories of Atlantis. And I was wondering if you could potentially elaborate a little bit on which part of that.
The flood.
Yeah.
The flood is the story of the destruction of Atlantis.
Okay, the flood, primarily.
Yes, because the asteroidal or cometary body that slammed into what you call the Atlantic Ocean created great tsunamis that wiped out Atlantis, but also affected many other parts of the nearby land masses, such as your North and Central South America, your Africa, Mediterranean, and European coastlines, and Middle Eastern. So therefore, the idea of the story of the flood is a racial memory of the destruction caused by the tsunamis from that impact in your ocean.
Awesome. And how many ancient cultures were given the information of the things from that time to our prehistory of the precession of the equinox and the coming of the golden age?
Given by Atlantean survivors, you mean?
Yes.
Well, Egypt obviously was given information. Many places in Europe were. The British Isles were given a lot of that information. Some information was also spread back into the North, Central, and South American continents. And the idea of it stretching all the way into your Asiatic continents, the buildings of certain structures, such as pyramids around your world, and so on and so forth, certain kinds of temples that align with the idea of stellar phenomenology, are in general representative of some of the ancient knowledge that the survivors of Atlantis spread around the world to help people understand that these things do happen, that these cycles can reoccur, and to prevent such destruction from happening again if possible.
Excellent. And are these beings, did they achieve immortality?
Are you talking about Atlanteans?
The Atlantean priesthood.
Physical immortality? No.
No. Okay.
No.
Got it. So, but in spirit, those beings are still connected very strongly to the Earth sphere.
Of course. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them have gone on to other things. But it will always remain as part of them, because any experience always remains as a part of you, no matter what state you're in, physical or non-physical. It's a part of who you are.
That's beautiful. And I have a question about the Ark of the Covenant in the same proportions of the coffer and the Great Pyramid. Were those the same dimensions?
There are relationships between them. They're not absolutely the same dimensions, but there are similarities in ratios that work in both of them.
Got it. Because you once talked about the coffer and the Great Pyramid being a certain
Yes.
dimension with the granite, so you could.
Yes. So it's more about the idea of resonant ratios than it is actual physical dimensions. It's more like scaling something up or down, but making sure that they still contain the same energetic ratios.
Okay, cool. And they were used for different purposes.
Yes, it can be.
Yes, well, the Ark of the Covenant was more of a step-down transformer of energy for what?
For a variety of purposes, yes. For communication, for energy release, for providing certain kinds of vibrational states, different applications for different needs at different times. It could be adjusted.
Okay. Is it true that, like in the movie we have of Indiana Jones, where the Ark of the Covenant was talked about how it could be used for malicious purposes as well, or purposes in the wrong hands?
It could. It could. Again, like any device, like any equipment, it can be used for positive or negative reasons.
Yes. Was this a standard part of technology in the Atlantean civilization that was given to Egypt?
Again, the basic premises were understood in Atlantis, but it wasn't exactly used in the same way. It's all about resonance. It's all about frequency. It's all about ratios and proportions and relations between them. So the basic concepts were understood, but they weren't used quite in the same way.
Okay, how would they be used different?
In Atlantean times, the vibrational resonances that existed in the ark were used for the propagation of light and energy.
Okay, because this had to do with more of their crystal technology in those days?
Yes.
Okay, very cool. And an important question I have to ask, which is um, going around a lot right now in the New Agey community, is this big shift of integrity and people working through all sorts of different things.
Yes.
But I feel a huge misunderstanding in the New Agey community is people misunderstanding the idea of right and wrong, how you speak about it.
Yes.
Because I know you are talking about positive energy and negative energy,
Yes.
but people will take these things of right and wrong and, create kind of a not clear life of having a grounded moral compass.
Yes, of course. There is alignment and there is misalignment. And many people will have misunderstandings and misinterpretations of many of the concepts that we have discussed with all of you, because they are not necessarily as practiced as they could be and not necessarily as refined in their understanding of these concepts. In a sense, I'm going to put it in an old kind of colloquial way. Again, not meaning to be negative per se, but you'll understand it through this simple mnemonic. Many people know just enough metaphysics to be dangerous.
Yes.
When they arrive at a certain point of understanding, they think they know enough. They think they know it all. And therefore, a lot of their applications are misguided. They don't take the time to go more deeply into their understanding of how things actually work, and therefore they can be misled and be misleading to others and misinterpret many different kinds of things. So again, it's about either really truly being clear and having a deep understanding, a clear understanding of how things work, or not. But again, it's up to each individual to decide for themselves what they do and don't align with, and that's part of the experience and part of the process. So it also helps us determine who actually is ready and is not ready for contact. So that's okay.
Yes. And I have a lot of born again Christian friends,
Yes.
that were from the New Age, and found Jesus and everything, and now they cast everything aside that is not Jesus. So everything is.
Then they don't actually understand Jesus.
Mm.
Because there have been many misinterpretations and misrepresentations and misunderstandings about what Jesus actually said and what he was all about, because a lot of the dialogue that came from him and others around him have been altered for the purposes of political power and certain kinds of gain, and therefore you don't really have an absolutely thoroughly accurate representation of what was really said at the time. Plus, in not understanding Jesus in the full capacity of his expression, then many people who purport to understand him or purport to believe in him actually have no understanding of the fact that he was presenting both a male and a female aspect in the Mary of the Magdalene. This is a couple. This is a male and female representation in balance, and many of the things that were actually talked about are extremely metaphysical and not exactly what the idea of the Christian belief system purports to be true.
Got it. So more, this is hard for me to ask, but more, okay, so more like how you've said the Magdalena things and more of the Essenian stuff and the Rosicrucian stuff is a little more coordinated.
Even there are misinterpretations in those. It is more the pure idea of the understanding of the balance between male and female in the expression of Yeshua and Maria, or Miriam the Magdalene.
So more just the simplicity of harmony between the sexes.
Yes.
Okay.
And the idea of the understanding of both sides' connection in balance to all that is, and the expressions thereof, many of which are very familiar now to those who have listened to metaphysical concepts in your modern age. A lot of what was expressed that can be found in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene are actually very metaphysical concepts as you would recognize them in your modern age. Remember, she was his chief disciple.
Yes. Beautiful. So very, very simple. It almost connects to just yin and yang and the basics of proportion.
There is a book that exists on your planet that may be of assistance to you in understanding some of this. And it is a book that is called When God Had a Wife. Investigate that, and it will give you a lot of information about more accurate representations of the positions of male and female energy throughout your history. Much of it is not what you think because of what has been made of it and what has been left out and what has been corrupted.
When God
Had a Wife.
Beautiful. Yes, I will look into that. Thank you, Bashar.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bashar. You helped me so much today. I truly appreciate you.
It is our passion and our pleasure and our deep appreciation to all of you as well. Good day.
Good day.
Thank you. I love you. Bye.
That's a lot of information. We will not be delivering all of that. However, both civilizations do not sleep much at all. And it depends upon what you call sleep, because they can make connections to their spirit selves in a more constant way than you do, and therefore don't need the idea of sleep in the same way that you do. They might even just drop into what you would call a meditative state temporarily, and it would accomplish the same thing that you're accomplishing by having many hours of sleep. So neither of them really sleep much in that sense. The idea, again, of food is that it is usually of a lighter quality, more of the idea of either juices or vegetables in that sense. And in their daily lives, it depends upon the individual. Some are creatively artistic, some are scientifically investigative, some have many different kinds of functions according to their passions. So in that sense, they have a lot of similarity, even though they have a lot of differences as well. For the Pleiadians are mostly your genetic cousins in the sense of being of assistance to you to move forward in your civilization in an exciting way that brings you closer together. Whereas the Yael are more specifically about introducing the hybrid children to your planet to begin the particular process of evolving into the sixth hybrid race.
Hello, hi Bashar, how are you?
Perfect, and you?
I'm great. Yeah, Bashar, so I have a question related to sacred circuits. So I wanted to know if tetrascallion, or the swastika symbol that was also used in the Nazi flag, with a circle in the center, a sacred circuit.
It is a sacred circuit, but on a higher level than we've delivered at this point. Understand that the swastika has been around for thousands of years and represents the idea of the flow of creative energy in the cosmos, in the universe. So yes, it's a sacred circuit that can help rewire the brain when focused on in a positive energy, in a positive state, to understand how to blend with and align with the creative energies of the universe, of all that is. But it has to be used that way. Obviously, the way the Nazis used it was a misunderstanding and a corruption of its original intention, which exists in many ancient civilizations, Tibetan, Native American, so on and so forth. They understood its original meaning and used it in its original way. So you can too, if you wish.
Okay, so is there a single word that we can associate with it?
A single word?
Yeah, like you have given for other sacred circuits.
Yes. Alignment with creation. It's not a single word, but it's a concept.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Bashar. And I also have a question related to the Anunnaki. So, why was it out of integrity on part of the Anunnaki to create humans for their survival?
Because it was against their laws to do so.
Okay,
Because the idea of the creation, the injection of their genetic material to create a new species was simply not within the realm of their acceptable laws at the time, especially because they didn't necessarily guide those people correctly, where new Anunnaki had to come in to do so to make up for the mistakes that that group of Anunnaki that created Homo sapiens undertook. So they broke their laws in many different ways,
okay,
out of desperation.
okay. And who was or what was Apep or Apophis that is said to have been attacking Ra, the ancient Egyptian god?
The idea of Apophis was simply the idea of the destructive principle.
Okay, so it was not an entity or some being.
Not in the way that you mean it, no. It's an archetypal energy that represents the energy of breaking things down, of destroying things so they can be rebuilt. Of course, there are many different interpretations that have happened on your planet.
Okay. And did the Sasquatch also have any incarnation connection to the ancient Orion system?
No.
Oh, okay. So they did not have any negative expressions of oppression or warfare.
They had their own pathway, but they do not share much of it with Homo sapiens.
Okay, so can we say, like, say the warfare and oppression is actually a genetic problem?
No. It's a training problem. It's a learning issue. It's a matter of happening into a system that has certain kinds of negative cycles associated with it in order for the purpose of overcoming them, of transforming them. But it's not really a genetic problem initially. It can embed itself in your genetics over time, but it doesn't originate because of the genetic structure.
Okay. And then you also mentioned that the Earth has a frequency of 7.85 hertz, and then Earth is also a world of cycles. So how does this frequency of 7.85 hertz cause the cyclic nature of the Earth?
It is the base cycle that encourages you to come back to alignment. The idea is that when the cycle becomes something other than that, when the frequency becomes something other than that, you can be going out of alignment and following the cycles of destruction. But by going back into alignment with the natural resonance of the earth, then you are bringing yourself back into alignment and thus allowing yourself to go beyond the original cycles that give you the opportunity to explore negativity and limitation.
Okay, Bashar. And can you share a vibrational phone number for Shambhala?
Shambhala, or Shangri-La, as some people refer to it, has a image that you can meditate on of 3 crystal spheres, one being pure white, one being soft blue, and one being soft pink.
Okay, in what shape or
In a triangle.
okay, in a triangle?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then I think I will have the last question now. So, what is your definition of death, Bashar? And is there a way to have life review that we have after dying while we are alive?
Yes, you can experience some degree of life review while you are alive, but in most cases that would be pointless because you're still alive. Therefore, you wouldn't necessarily have a complete life review. You may get moments of it, flashes of it, that can help you align yourself. But in the idea of transitioning into spirit, when you are done with this particular experience, then it is more appropriate for you to have the entire life review, because then you can understand the relationship and the connections between every single moment of the actual physical life experience. But sometimes when people are in certain circumstances and they say, oh, my life flashed before my eyes, in some sense they are tapping into the idea of life review because they truly believe that at any moment they might die. But there are other circumstances where you can come to an understanding, a gestalt understanding of something, and tap into the idea of recognizing what something was all about in your life. But you will not necessarily have an entire life review unless you are either close to death or have actually died.
Okay, Bashar.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Bashar.
Good day.
Yeah, good day to you too. Bye.
Hi, Bashar. This is Karen from Belgium. I have learned to trust the signs that I get on my path, and there are a lot of signs that have to do with ancient Egypt. So I would like to know something more about ancient Egypt. What was the main energy frequency in ancient Egypt? Where did the inhabitants came from? And were there connections to Sirius or to Orion? Can you speak a bit more about this? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, there were many connections to Sirius and ancient Orion in being played out in many civilizations on your planet over time. As we have said, there are many stories that are the continuation from many different places that allow you to play them out and figure out how you would like them to conclude or move on by joining the Earth cycle of opportunity to explore those things. We're not sure what you're asking when you say what was the frequency of ancient Egypt, because you're talking about a combined frequency of many, many hundreds of thousands of different individuals. If you're looking for an overall representation of ancient Egypt as a resonant frequency, you could say that they were existing somewhere, depending on who was involved, in the neighborhood of about 60 to 70,000 up to 80,000 cycles per second. But again, it depends upon what era. It depends upon what their focus was at that particular time. It depends upon how many remnants of the Atlantean civilization they incorporated into their culture, and many other things. So we can't necessarily give you one particular frequency, but a range of frequencies from somewhere around 50 to 60 to 70 to 80,000 cycles per second, depending upon who was doing what in that culture at the time. Good day.
Hello. Hi, Bashar. How are you?
Perfect. And you?
Thank you very much. Good as well. Perfect
Good.
as you are.
All right.
Bashar, I'm very happy to tell you that finally we have a result that prove that the devices that you describe are actually resonators.
Yes.
And we receive 10 times the amplitude of the input. We receive a resonant frequency 10 times greater. But we receive it with the cones that you describe, with the most primitive version.
That's why we gave you that basic form to begin with. It is the core of everything that you are exploring.
Yes, and the frequency that we have resonance is 80 kilohertz, but very interestingly, we have a secondary resonant frequency, which is 3 times higher.
Yes.
240 kilohertz. Again, the resonance is 10 times greater.
Yes.
What I would like to ask you is that we know that sometimes higher voltage does not mean a generation of power. How we can improve this? Is there anything else we can do to improve this? Because my passion is to explore the space-time fuse and create the device.
And then explore it. You will discover what you need. We have given you enough so that you will have the momentum to use your own imagination, to explore what you need, to find what you need at this moment. You have enough to go on, as you have just discovered and as you have just stated. You're getting the results that you need to take you further.
And I would like to share with you that we have also result. I was listening to your words alone among the nature to get more information of what you have said already.
Yes.
And finally realized that the insulating plates of the anti-gravity device, they need to be not so wide. They need to be gaps very.
All right. Well, you see, that's exactly what we're saying. When you take it upon yourself to go into the places that you're attracted to go and go into the states that you're attracted to be in, you will get the information you need. It will be downloaded from many different sources, including us, but you have the ability now to do these things by putting yourself in the proper frame of mind, in the proper environment that is conducive to getting the information that you need. So you now have these abilities. You don't need us as much as you think you do.
Okay.
All right.
My last question is, because you say that some help from Sirius, is there any message or is there any particular permission slip I can using to connect?
Focus on the Mobius strip.
Mobius strip, like the loop, like infinity loop.
Yes. Focus on that in a meditative state. It will help you download the information that you need.
Any particular colors like blue and white and
we leave that up to you, but remember the colors of the signature of Sirius.
Yes, I just make a meditation on that.
All right. Thank you.
Bashar, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You are welcome.